This weekend, Ryan's bonking, Andy's ballin', and we both wreck an N64 game to pieces. I'm Ryan.
I'm Andy.
And this is Weekend Rental, episode 215. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Weekend Rental. Andy, how have you been?
Not too bad. Busy like always, I guess, but
More house fun?
Yeah. It seems like it never stops, I guess, but looks like a lot has changed over at your residence right now.
Yeah.
On video.
About the same amount of stuff is out of here, but yeah, we had it all ready for listing that went on the market not last Sunday, but the Sunday before. So that was fun. So yeah, just continued fixing a few things right up until the end, and then I had our final cleaning on Saturday, and Jill's going under the sink upstairs. I just hear, "Oh fuck!" I'm like, "Oh God, what?" And here we caught it, like thankfully, like we were cleaning right in time, but like there was a leak under the sink upstairs, which we had just remodeled that bathroom over the pandemic. And I'm like, where the fuck is it leaking from? And I'm like looking and looking, and I realized like it's leaking from the cold water shutoff valve where it attaches to the pipe. And I was like, well, fuck it, I'm out like on that. So Saturday, like we were supposed to list the next day. I was like, we need a plumber out here like now. So we had to call like 3 places, finally got somebody. We had to run like 2 or 3 times to find parts. Got it done, of course. And then $400 later, you're like, okay, I guess we're back on track. And like, for fuck's sake. I mean, it worked out good though. Like we caught it very early to the point where like no real damage, just some cleanup of crap out of the sink. But it's like, good Lord, what else could go wrong? So
I don't know what it is about like that type of stuff, like under sink plumbing. It feels like if you touch it, like
right.
any different than it has been the last like 10 years, it's broken. Like something's happened.
And the only thing I could think is like maybe we bumped it potentially. I don't know. Like, but there's no reason for it. So I mean, I got an old house, so stuff happens. But yeah, so that pissed me off. But got it done, got it listed. Then we got to like the showings, and like that was a whole shit show because like they put a thing on my door for the key instead of just putting it on the handle. I don't know why she didn't want to put it on the handle. She didn't. So it was like this thing that like hinged onto the back, and that was binding and like causing the door to be all weird. And then we had people coming through, and we left them like a backdoor key in case they locked themselves out so they could walk through the house instead of walking around. Well, then some idiot locked the deadbolt, locked Jill out on the first day because we don't carry keys because we have keypads and we don't use the deadbolt. I mean, why would we? I didn't even know that key apparently was the front key, works in that. So that was great. So I had to like, I ride that electric bike to work. So I'm like, it's going to be half an hour. So like I messaged our realtor, like, can you get somebody over there? Because it's going to take me like forever to get home. So that happened. And then she's like, well, so I'm like, let's take that key off of there. So we take the back door key off. Then I also tape over the deadbolt. And then 2 days later, some dipshit decides to tour the house again. And then instead of locking it with the key, because they don't have it, they just locked the deadbolt from the inside, then left out the front. I was just like, I told my realtor, I was like, I fucking give up. Like, I'm done. Like, luckily that time I had keys on me and my wife was with me, but just like, Jesus. So yeah, that's been fun.
I mean, I suppose that there's a lot of liability involved with that, where they're like, basically, they're just going to lock every freaking thing up.
But if it's not locked when you were there, like, don't touch it.
Yep.
So I'm like, short of pulling the deadbolt out of the door, I don't know what I can do here. So yeah, so that's been fun. And then we did get offers. We got 2 full price offers within 2 days. So
wow.
Took the first one because the other one was VA, which I think VA is more strict than FHA. And I'm like, this is a 75-year-old house. We're not dealing with that. So we'll see what happens. We got their inspection this Friday. So I'm just trying to get like last minute things done. Hopefully it goes smooth. There's no like major surprises. I mean, it's an old house. There's going to be shit, but you're buying a 75-year-old house. What do you want?
Right. Yeah.
And they're already like, everyone's been like so worried about the roof. I'm like, the roof looks weird. Like it's old. Like they put shingles over shingles. Like it's not a traditional flat roof. It's like, it's supposed to have like ridges and stuff. So like, it's not leaking. Like, let's not, yes, it should be replaced the next few years, but you're fine.
Right.
So,
Yep. And
because the
at
last
that
thing I
point,
want
you
to do
can
is
scrape it all off, right?
right at this point. It's like I don't want to put
Yeah.
a new roof on it, and you'd be an idiot to put a roof on this time of year anyway, because it's not going to get enough heat to like fully melt and like get you through winter. So like
Hmm.
just bite the bullet. Like it would cost me like $2,000 myself to do this house, reshingle it. It's small, so like
Yeah. Yeah.
let's just move on. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we get through it and I get it done. This guy didn't want to close though until like December fucking 12th or something. So then we are trying to negotiate that. I was like, I'd prefer if you'd close in November because then I don't have to pay 2 mortgages and a bridge loan. But he was like him and Han about that. And then with Thanksgiving coming up, I was just like, fuck it. Whatever, title company's closed anyway that last Friday in November. So
Yeah.
just take the hit, I guess. But yeah, been working through stuff with our new house. Turns out the bat guy that showed up found bats. Weird that the inspector that had visual evidence of bats knew more than the dipshits who lived there. So he's been out there and doing some stuff. I don't know. Everyone's excited. I'm settling in, but I'm still nervous until it's all done, right? Until we get through.
Yeah. Once you're done, once it's done, then it's
contingent.
Then you can settle down. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and my car broke down Friday. That was awesome.
Oh.
So my daughter's birthday was yesterday. She turned 14. She wanted to take a few friends out and go downtown and eat at a Korean restaurant. So I was like, yeah, I'll take you guys down there. So I'm middle of downtown on Broadway. Anyone who's familiar with like a downtown can imagine how busy a downtown is, even in a town like Fargo. And I put it in reverse to back out on Broadway. And I step on the gas after shifting gears. I'm still going backwards. I'm like, well, that's not good, right? So I put it in park, turned it off, turned it back on, nothing. So I'm dead blocking the northbound lane at like peak traffic, stuck in gear, so I can't even get it off the road. Call the tow truck, like half hour. I'm like, half hour? I'm blocking all of fucking northbound traffic downtown. So then it was like half hour of like, hey, can I help you push it? I'm like, yeah, great idea. It's stuck in gear. So no. And then, between that and like every fifth person driving by and screaming at you can't park here. I'm like, you're real funny. This is great. That was awesome. So yeah, I'm sure my daughter was very embarrassed. Got towed. I was like, well, should I tow it home and try to fix it myself? Like if I can't, which odds are going to be I can't, I'm gonna have to tow it again. So I just towed it to a shop near my house. Then we walked home from there. So that was awesome. That was another, I don't know. It was only like it turned out to be like the shifter cable. So not huge, but it was like $700 to get that fixed.
Oh, sure.
A more competent person could probably do it themselves, but I'm not that person. So
you had, how many girls were?
It was my daughter and 2 of her friends. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm sure they're all very impressed.
Yep.
So their $40 dinner turned into like an $800 ordeal. So yeah, between the pipe and the car, I'm really just winning lately with money. So it's awesome, but whatever. It's going to happen. You drive an old vehicle. Now I feel like I'm even like more invested. Like I have to keep it going now, right?
Yeah. It's just like of all places though, like it could have been
right. It couldn't
every
have
place
been
that you would possibly drive.
Right. Couldn't have been any fucking worse. I never go downtown. Like I'm never in a situation like that. And of course, right then, like it was pretty amazing.
Huh.
So that was a good kickoff to my weekend. And yeah, but whatever. I mean, we're through the worst of it. So I got to like enjoy Saturday. I actually had like nothing to do. So I just got our shopping done and spent an afternoon watching horror movies and having some drinks, which was nice compared to, slaving away in the house for 8 hours a day and going to bed sicker than I felt waking up in the day. So, yeah.
Well, that was my weekend.
Working on the house.
We put flooring in the basement that I'm finishing. And from basically getting off of work on Friday until pretty much dark on Sunday, it was just nonstop laying down vinyl planks.
It's at least that stuff goes pretty smoothly up until you get to like the cuts, right? And then that's when stuff starts to really suck.
There's a very small sliver of our basement that doesn't have some sort of angle to cut. So
that sucks.
At least at the end, the angles were 45 degrees. That makes it a lot easier on a lot of things. But everything else was just kind of a pain in the ass.
Were you using like a product that you could like score by knife and cut, or did you have to use like a saw, or what was the procedure?
I just I figured it'd be easier just to use but I bought one of those choppers.
Oh,
It's
sure,
like
yeah.
a press that you just
Yep,
pop
miter
it
saw.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that was a lot easier for that. And then, table saw and jigsaw and all that for
yeah.
other cuts. But
That gets to be
yeah,
a
it's
lot.
it yeah, it was like 1100 square feet. So it it took a long time. When people say, "Oh, this is easy." And it's like, "Yeah, I imagine it is easy if you're doing a bedroom or something like that. You'd whip it out in a couple hours."
Yeah.
But,
If everything's perfectly square, it's probably
yep.
great.
Yeah.
Looks nice though.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Does you have to do
Uh,
like some underlayment, or did you get something like with a backing on it, or?
oh gosh, our concrete floor has had settling,
Right.
and then basically the installation is like you can't do anything more than an eighth of an inch off. Like it has to be within eighth of an inch of level on everything. Yeah. First of all, that seems impossible on concrete, no matter what you do.
Right.
But yeah, there was a lot of grinding. There was a lot of floor leveling, little like patch concrete going on for a good solid week. Concrete dust pretty much everywhere.
You just seal it under the laminate. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So I never want to do that again.
Yeah.
Not that process anyway. I mean, if it was a bedroom or something like that on a flat surface, I would be happy to lay that stuff. But
Yeah. Yeah, it's not fun. I mean, I had to do a little bit here for a bathroom and hallway, and even that was enough to be like, I don't need to do this anytime soon again. So,
right, it's a lot of, especially when you get but hallways and stuff. I imagine it's a lot of cuts and bathrooms too. Yeah,
but now you're good though, right? Like ready to move in finally and finish
the
basement, or
bedrooms
do you
still need flooring.
do a
I think we're gonna
laminate
do
there or
carpets.
carpet? Okay, yeah,
Carpets, some sort of just lay down a remnant or something like that.
it goes so
Be
much
done with it.
faster. Even like those cheap like peel and stick carpet tiles are pretty easy, and
Yeah, that's what we're thinking
when you
on
go to
one
throw 'em.
side. Yeah, yeah. Especially with you never know if you're gonna get moisture, so you might as well
Right.
get something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always
But
like the thing that people have told me too is like, oh, get that like vinyl planking like for your basement. So like if you ever get water in there, you can just like pick it all up and dry it out. I'm like, that sounds awful. Like, couldn't I just get carpet, roll it up, throw it away, and get new carpet? Like, I don't want to redo the floor. What are we talking about?
right,
Not that we've had like enough water in here to have that happen, but it can certainly happen at any time with the basement. You never know, right?
right, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's getting there. I mean, there's trim and outlets and all that stuff still
Nice.
left, but it actually looks like a finished place now. So
That's awesome. You over the hump at least.
yep.
Yeah, I'll get to start round 2 of that on the 30th because my wife's like, well, I want to paint all this. I'm like, oh, God, paint all this stuff. So I'm like, I'm just going to rent a U-Haul and start hauling boxes. You paint whatever the hell you want. Like, I'm kind of over this shit. But I know I've got like a whole bunch of stuff to do when I get in, but I'll live with a lot of it for a while, I guess. We'll see. But
Yeah, it's hard to get motivated right away
yeah.
after you had the stress of all of that to begin with, right?
Yeah, the tough part for me is going to be like all the stuff in the shed and then like all my games because like that garage is not insulated and heated at the new place yet. So I'm going to have to get all that stuff into the basement at some point so it makes it through the winter, which sounds awful, but whatever. Just suck it up and deal with it. It's all in totes at least, so it's just walking stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm sitting down here with a giant radon detector. Apparently the guy wanted a radon thing as part of his test, which is fine, totally understandable. But I got a text that like, oh, they're going to come in and just like stick it back in your utility room. And now I have like this huge tripod and big box sitting in the middle of my living room down here, which is not at all my utility room. So I don't know. I have a radon mitigator. I can't imagine I have horrible levels of radon in here.
Yeah, what would it be then? Yeah.
Right.
Unless you are radiating radon somehow.
Right. I could be.
Well,
I did pull open like right in front of me, which is nobody's gonna see on camera or no, but I have one of those like somebody installed one of those like sewer shut off valves in the floor here. So like I've been working on that this week too. So it's like, oh, I hope it's not like a whole bunch of radon coming out of that. Cause I haven't looked at that in like a decade because it's been under everything, right? So I was like, I should see what that looks like. And it looks like what you'd expect for a hole under the floor of your basement. Like it's damp and like there's rust and stuff. So it's like, oh, I'm gonna clean that out and paint that a little bit so it doesn't look like complete shit when they do the inspection. But I figured I better have it visible for the inspection because I don't want the guy to move in, do his final walkthrough and be like, why is there like a giant hole in the floor and no carpet there? Which is what they did to us. I didn't know I had it until we closed. I was like, oh, cool. Because they had if I recall right, they had a treadmill sitting over it. And I always thought it was weird that there was just like a treadmill hanging out in the basement, but that was why.
Oh.
It's a nice feature, but like also in the state of emergency to where the city's septic fails, what are the odds that you were going to be home at that time to like manually throw that to save your basement? Like, right. Great idea, but practical, maybe not. I don't know. I've never used it. Whatever. It just makes a weird sound when you walk over it. Big tin door.
Plus, I mean, if you do that lever, you're just making somebody else's house worse because
100%.
You know, you're throwing off the equilibrium of everything. You got to do your part.
Yeah.
Take what comes up.
Right. Flood all of us equally. Yeah. Yeah. So it's been, a lot. Like, but hopefully we can get through this and like it just gets. I have a feeling though, like after the inspection next week will be a whole thing with like going back and forth on some stuff. But to me, like you got to be a little realistic. Like we're not asking like a fortune on our house and it's old, so got to roll with some of the punches.
Yeah.
But yeah.
As a first time buyer,
I don't know for sure. It's conventional, so maybe not.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't know anything about it other than I think it's just like a single dude. So. And it turns out, like, we got the paperwork, and she was like, that name sounds familiar. Looked it up, and she works with him. So it's like, oh, okay. Nice. Huh. Like, is he a dick? Do you know? She's like, I don't know. I've been on some emails. I'm like, okay.
Huh.
I heard he was excited about it. I mean, that's the best you can hope for.
Yep.
But, yeah. Exhausted, though. Like, it's just been a lot. I get to work, and I'm like Monday, I got to the office. Instead of taking I took my lunch, but instead of eating, I just like closed my blind, shut off my lights, pulled in a second chair and just like slept. Like I woke up snoring so loud that like it woke me up. I was like, I hope nobody else heard that. I mean, technically I was on my lunch break, but when you're catching naps at the office, you know, you've been doing too much.
Yep.
So yeah, I haven't done a lot of like actual enjoyable living since we recorded last, as you can imagine. It sounds like you probably haven't either, but
yeah, not too much.
You did have a game on this list that I've been hearing about at the office, and I did jump into tonight too because I was told it was a good game to play on cloud.
I started playing this game and I'm like, this is a Ryan game.
I'm on the fence on it, but
really,
it's called Ball X Pit, right?
Right. And I mean it's Arkanoid. That's the main thing, like the bouncing of the balls thing.
It's Arkanoid and like Vampire Survivors and like what? Farmville or like something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't get the second half of the game. Like that's not my thing.
Yeah, that part's weird. It kind of like it's a roguelike, so yeah, it's in a Vampire Survivors way where you're going down a tunnel, things are coming at you, and you're just playing break the blocks type thing on these enemies. Mm-hmm. And like Vampire Survivors, you get items, you combine them into better combinations of them to get the best stuff, level ups. And after your run is over, the way they do kind of your persistent upgrades is kind of like a town builder where you're putting some farming stuff down to get resources and then using those resources to build buildings. That's how you get new characters, upgrades, that type of stuff. But the interesting part about that is like you also like bounce your people around on this grid to harvest the different resources.
It doesn't feel like a fully realized addition to the game is how I feel about that.
Yeah, it is weird. It never gives you exactly what you want.
No,
you know, because it's like there's too many variables on how those little guys bounce around,
and they're on a timer that's so short.
Right,
it's like what 30 seconds, not even 15.
Yeah, it's
maybe?
not even. It's like 10 maybe. Yeah, it's not very much, and you'd never feel like, oh yeah, you planned exactly for it, so I agree. I think that part's a little half baked because I think the persistent side is a really important part of a roguelikes because you're trying
Yeah.
to make your build, and that part slows you down,
The
costs you extra
main
runs.
the main gameplay too reminds me of like a game I used to have on the Genesis that was kind of like this too, where it was kind of Arkanoid, but you were battling forward. I sold it to Brandon at a swap meet a few years ago, and that's kind of what it reminded me of a lot. The one thing I don't like about it though, like from a roguelite perspective, and like there's something to be said about the random scaling and like leveling, but the simplicity of how like a Vampire Survivors does it, where for the most part, yes, you want to think about like your multipliers, but you can kind of turn your brain off and focus on the game. Where this one has some stuff that like is crucial to you winning your run, where it's like increased power for banking off walls or hitting enemies from a certain side.
Yeah.
So it almost like you have to really pay attention to what you're upgrading and make sure you're following those upgrades to win, which isn't in itself bad because like you know how to dominate, but it kind of removes some of the brain off element where you still have to really focus on how you're attacking. Wherein like a Vampire Survivors, there's less of that. I feel like.
Yes. I mean, Vampire Survivors is very much like you try and get the build where you just sit still and you can just mow
Yes.
over people, and that rarely happens in here. If it does, it's only for a very short period, and then
Yeah.
you're kind of back on the fence again, back on your heels. And yeah, I think the characters differ so much that you have to play them a specific way. Like there's ones that are very much you want to get the balls in the back and
Yeah.
hit them from the back, or there's ones that you want to bounce a million times off the sidewalls, and
Yeah.
so there is a lot of that. And I think the one part that really, um, I don't know, it kind of disappoints me a little bit that it seems like the only way to really get fast and progress early is to max out whatever
Yeah.
balls they give you.
Mm-hmm.
You can't start doing like a build that you want because you fall back. Like if you only have two balls and then you're getting all these passive upgrades,
Right.
you're going to die because you just don't have enough special balls. And if you end up with balls that don't really like combine or do anything cool, then your run is kind of over anyway. Whereas Vampire
Yeah.
Survivors, I feel like if you took the right things, you could just level up that one thing for a good while and be
It,
fine.
it also feels like it's very dependent on like a half dozen failed runs with each player to get their XP up, which
Yeah.
it doesn't feel intuitive as much as it feels like padding out the game.
Yep.
So I do like how the bosses are essentially like bullet hell after that. You know what I mean? Like it's kind
Yeah.
of neat that you've got kind of like three gameplay types in here. And it does the thing of like one more run, right? But I didn't feel like overly drawn to it in the way that I maybe would with something that was a little more polished. Like there's a lot of good ideas here, but there's just a lot of stuff too that's tedious.
Yeah. I there's one idea that I like quite a bit is that when you start a new run, oftentimes it'll, show you all the different characters that you can pick. And one of them will say, plus 25% coin if you use this
Sure.
run. So it kind of like gives you you can kind of be mindless about it. You're just like, oh, that's the one. Let's just do that one and go for it. It kind of turns into we're playing this game. You're just playing the game. It's not a
Yeah.
whole lot of really getting irritated trying to max out one person. You're
Yeah.
just there to keep doing the run over and over and over again.
And it is nice, like it kind of values your time knowing you're going to repeat. Cause like a full run on like the early levels is like 15 minutes, right? Like, so if you're 100% successful, that's the most time you're going to sink into it. At
Yeah.
least early
I mean, there's
on.
ones that I'm like 2 minutes
Yeah.
and you're dead just
Yeah,
because
oh,
it just
100%.
doesn't
I've
work
had some
out.
of those
Yep.
too. Like my first couple, like after I beat the first one and then I went to the second character, like I don't think I made it like even to like the first sub boss. It's just
Yep.
like over.
Yep.
But yeah, it's cool. I like the whole evolution system, and I just wish the core gameplay felt a little more loosey goosey instead of like frustrating at times. And like that whole thing when like you're getting backed up and like the whole screen like is full of enemies and they're all doing like that like marching kind of like sound effect towards you, just like really hits your anxiety buttons and you're freaking out. But It's cool. I don't know that I would have picked it up if it weren't on Game Pass. So it's another, you know, good excuse to still have Game
Yeah.
Pass, even if it is overpriced at this point.
Yeah, I don't think I would have tried it out. Like I saw it on Game Pass and then I saw that and I'm like, oh, this looks interesting.
Yeah, it's it's all right. It's got a lot of
Hmm.
weird ideas thrown together for sure. I'll probably keep at it for a little bit, but since we talked last time, I think you mentioned that 3D Vampire Survivors Mega Bonk on the last one, and then I heard a couple other podcasts talking about it. So I actually ended up installing that last weekend, which I need someone too to also explain to me how Steam credit works. Because for the life of me, I bought 2 games now. I can't figure out how to apply my $5 in Steam credit to any of my purchases. So I need a tutorial on that. But anyway, it was only $10, so I bought it. And Mega Bonk, obviously, it's only on Steam right now, but it is just 3D vampires, very much in a PS1 art style, maybe running on like a Dreamcast hardware, let's say. That's about what you're going to
Yeah.
expect from the visuals. Um, it's heavily inspired directly from Vampire Survivors. I mean, a lot of the stuff and like this, some of the humor and like the stuff is cringe in the text, but it's got a pretty good gameplay loop. I don't know if it's gonna have as much legs for me as like a Vampire Survivors does because it's just not as polished and the levels are a lot smaller. But
The movement seems more interesting for sure.
yeah, and like and the fact that it's in 3D gives you like there's some great multipliers for your power, like increase your jump, get a double jump, get a power up that increases your shots fired while jumping by or damage done while jumping by 30%. So then you're just like fucking leapfrogging all over the place like a madman. Um, yeah, it's cool. I've only unlocked 3 characters, but I have completed the first stage with one of them, at least tier 1. And I've unlocked the skateboarding skeleton guy, which is kind of cool because you're playing like a crappy Tony Hawk game, and then at that point, and he's like kick flipping all over the place. I don't know. It's definitely rough around the edges, but it's still got that same like, all right, one more run thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been enjoying that. I've maybe sunk, I don't know, 3 hours, 2.5 hours into it. I played like 3 sessions so far.
Okay. Yeah, I want to check that one out too. When does this stuff, what's the shelf life on this stuff?
I mean, you can only have so many of them, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I want like a true sequel to Vampire Survivors at this point. Like, update it to like 32-bit visuals. I mean, keep the same top down. I like that perspective, but yeah. Mega Bonk is really good though. The only thing I wish is like I wish it had a online co-op, so you could do that together with a friend, but it's not. Maybe it'll get there. And I would really like this on other platforms. Like this would be great on Switch too.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, you could play it on your $1,000 Rogue Xbox Ally X if you wanted to, I guess, but I'm not dropping that kind of money.
I haven't even seen any reviews on that thing. Like I was so amped to buy that thing, and now I'm just like not even interested in seeing.
Yeah, I've watched quite a few
about it.
breakdowns, and like the consensus is like this is a really great, powerful handheld PC, but you're going to have to fuck with Windows. And it sounds like, like it's the first iteration of the Xbox app with like a big picture mode baked in to where it just launches to it and you don't have to fuck with the settings on your PC side. But also that's getting pushed out to every other device that also does this. So if you still kind of have to be the PC guy and you can also get an OLED Steam Deck and a Switch 2 for the same price that this would cost, I don't really know who this is for. You know what I mean?
Right. I was hoping it would be like almost, be able to get to Steam pretty easily. And it seems like maybe that's not the case.
It seems like it's pretty intuitive. Like there's just like a button to go to like loaders. So you can just like hit it from the main menu and select between Steam and Xbox. So I think it's easy in that way. But then at that point, like if most of your library is already on Steam, like just save $500 and get the OLED Steam Deck, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Because you could get to some of the Xbox stuff. It probably isn't going to run as well, but you could definitely go into Windows mode and do that.
Yep.
I don't know. It's just the point where we're at with Xbox anymore is just like so questionable and laughable. After they did this along with that price hike, it's just like, what is this company doing?
Well, and like Best Buy and Target are like not even selling the thing anymore.
Costco is taking the console. I mean, when you go to any store that carries Xbox, they for sure have the least shelf space. Although I would argue PS5 and Xbox are not that much far off on like the retail presence at most of these big boxes. But yeah.
Target especially though has nothing for Xbox anymore.
No.
So I don't know what, like, if they're acting too high and mighty on their agreements with their retail and they're burning a lot of bridges there, or what's going on.
I just think they've built like an ecosystem that doesn't function on physical media, right? And then like I've been watching a lot of people talk about how like they really fucked up, with the last generation, which is true because the Xbox One generation was the one where a lot of people started going heavily digital. And a lot of them didn't do it on Xbox. So if you're going to move forward in a digital future, you're going to do it where your library is at, right? And Xbox for most people isn't it, which is totally true. I mean, say what you want about the PlayStation OS and interface, but like it's been consistent for, 15 years now, and it all carries forward and all works. And the same can't be said for Xbox to a large extent.
Right. Yeah. And it sure seems like the next whatever thing they're going to make is going to be just a PC with a
full
heavily front end Xbox.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at that point, like if they make it through another hardware generation as a hardware company, it will be shocking, right? I mean, I think they've said like PlayStation to Xbox is like it's worse than 3-1 this generation. Yeah. So
yeah.
I also am curious about GTA 6, right? Like that'll be the benchmark test because that game is not going to be a slouch on hardware. And if they're carrying forward the S requirements, which I assume they are for the X, are we potentially going to get the worst version of GTA 6? And is it going to not launch day and date because they can't get certain features to work? That's a real concern. And that's the game of the century. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wonder if at some point they're just like the S can drop because I mean, it's been a few years. I mean, that was a cheap hardware already when it came out. And it's been quite a while now.
And it's great for what it is, but it has hampered the underlying next gen, performance of, I mean, look at Baldur's Gate. I mean, PlayStation got a exclusive for free essentially because it took them another, 7 months to get to Xbox because of the S, because they couldn't get co-op working the way they needed to, which is crazy.
And the fact that normally we would already be looking at next generation coming real soon with these things already. Yeah. It just seems mind-numbing when you look back and like, what was even on these things? I don't know.
It feels increasingly, and it's felt like this for many, many years now, but it feels like increasingly like get a fairly decent gaming PC and buy your Nintendo console and you're set. And I think that's going to be more true next generation than ever. Because I tell you what, like in my new gaming setup, my gaming PC is probably going to be the heart of most of what I do.
Yeah. Well, and that report came out that like the majority of young people like buy like 2 games a year, if that. It's like, well, what kind of gaming industry can you really run on that?
Yeah. And I've been giving that more thought too. And it's just like, God, do I just drop the highest tier of Game Pass next year at some point? Because I'm mostly just in it for Sea of Thieves and then the occasional indie, but I could totally do that on a lesser tier or just buy Sea of Thieves for my PC. And the Xbox app is still going to carry forward on my progress. So then, but then, you get it's the whole catch, right? Like I'm still going to want Xbox Live. So I'm still $10 a month minimum. So I feel like the $15 a month tier is probably the right tier, but
yeah,
I don't know. I think Xbox is unredeemable at this point. And like none of their first party titles, like that news that coming out this week that like the next Halo will be very Fortnite like. It's like that's not what Halo is. Like don't do that to Halo. You already fucked us enough with Infinite. Like you've killed all your best IPs and you bought all these companies and nobody's putting out exclusive games and I'd imagine Microsoft's getting to the point where like the hardware is bleeding us dry, the branding's bleeding us dry. We either publish the shit out of games for consoles that sell and platforms that sell, or we just scrap the whole thing, which is my biggest fear is we're going to lose dozens and dozens and dozens of talented studios because Xbox can't see the profit margins on their Xbox division, right?
Yeah.
And they've spent so much money on it that, they're getting pressure from investors at this point. This isn't like a scrappy little division of Microsoft anymore because they can't be, because the trillions of dollars that they're pouring into it over the years.
Yeah. And I think they're going to get backed into a corner where their investors are going to say AI, and they're going to be the ones that kind of break the seal on all of that.
Yeah.
Because they're already in it,
Yeah, it's just been weird. Yeah, watching the breakdown on that hardware and then like watching just like the more recent announcements over the last week. I don't get it. I also don't get why we're getting another Kirby Air Ride Direct on Thursday. Why we need another one at all. I don't understand. Did you pick up the Galaxy collection at all?
No.
Okay. I didn't either. I've seen it in the store, but I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I already own both of them and have that 3D collection, so.
Yeah. I didn't pick up the Pokemon game yet either. Really slacking, I guess.
And the Pokemon game, you probably know better than I do, but those are just updated versions of last release, or is this new?
This is a new one.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's like, it's a weird version of it. It's almost like the last Legends game that came out was really weird because it's just like nonstop catching Pokemon. It's like catch 50 of this Pokemon, and it's like at some point it was just like, what? This is crazy. It's just too much.
It's just a collection fest at that point.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes adding objectives for the sake of padding out a game is not the right direction to go.
Yeah,
I thought they would really move Pokemon into more of a dynamic. It seemed like they were doing that for a while, more of a dynamic open world, create your adventure, but they've kind of like backtracked on that, which is weird because they do that. They've tried to Breath of the Wild like almost everything else. But
yeah. This one is like almost like 100% inside of a city, which I think video games have a real problem with cities. If you make them too big, it just becomes I had that problem with Fallout a lot, where it's just like the cities got so big where it's like I didn't even know, like you're not in it long enough to really like know the layout or really care about the city, but it's too big to be like navigate, to be able to navigate it well.
Isn't so much of Pokemon too like the biomes and like the type of creature you would catch out of them? Like, isn't that half of the fun? It's like I go to this biome
we're just
to find this rare thing. Yeah, well, you can find everything in the city, right? Yeah, it's interesting. Very interesting. After we got done recording that last one, I ended up getting a message from Nintendo Hodge on Blue Sky. And he's like, won't send me the link. He's like, I bought tickets. And I was like, here, he sent me, he bought a couple tickets for the Offspring Bad Religion concert that we're going to too. I was like, oh yeah, I'm taking Andy as my date. And then he's like, oh yeah, I'm taking a friend too, but it's on Valentine's Day up here, so it's really a date. So I was like, oh yeah, nice.
Oh wow.
So yeah. So we got that to look forward to, I guess.
Yes, that's gonna be so good.
It was cheap enough; it was hard to say no to. So yeah. What else you been up to? I don't know. Neither one of us have a ton of topics. Oh, the flooring.
You got a few more.
What you got?
I don't have anything else. You got.
I've got. Oh, I Like Me. I watched that. That's
the John Candy thing.
Yeah, the John Candy documentary, which is about what you'd expect. It's like really well done and like a guy who was pretty well beloved. I mean, he died at 43, so it was like he was just kind of getting started.
Jeez, I didn't think it was that young. Wow.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. I mean, but it's tough too because it's like he's always been present, right? Like he's never not been on TV with like Uncle Buck and Home. It's like it seems like he lived on longer than he did. But yeah, it was pretty good interviews. They got Bill Murray to give some commentary, which that guy doesn't do that for anything. So they got everybody you'd expect. A lot of the Second City people. his kids had a lot to say in it, who are now, probably our age, close. Just kind of recapped his whole life and really just kind of came down to like he was a people pleasing guy in an industry that takes advantage of those people, and he didn't ever change his bad habits with the drinking, smoking, and eating. And his wife's like, well, I do his shopping, and at one point I was buying 2X, and it was 3, and then it was 4 and 5, and but it's kind of like sad. They talked about because he was filming I don't know if it was a series or a movie project, but apparently he like died alone in the home that he was in, away from his family and everybody for that. Like they found him. It appears like he woke up in the middle of the night, opened the Bible, started reading it, and that's how they found him, was just like slumped over with the Bible in his hands. So
jeez,
pretty sad. But
huh.
He's kind of one of those guys that even if you didn't know him, like you grew up loving his characters, right? And it sounds like he was kind of that guy in real life too. So
I that's what you always heard from everybody. It was like, no, that's just him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny too. Like I was watching a lot of those old like SCTV clips because they're coming up my feed after watching that, and it's funny like when you see like actors and stuff like in the 80s and stuff, and it's like that they were in their 20s and stuff then, but they still look like they were 40 the entire time they were like in these different series. But it's a really good watch. I do recommend it, and you forget about a lot of the stuff he was in too, and like there's so many other. I mean, there's the big movies obviously, but he did a lot of like smaller movies and stuff, and sounds like he just had a hard time with the business and the stress and all of that. So, which of course you're going to.
I would imagine, yeah.
I didn't realize that he bought like a CFL team with Wayne Gretzky and somebody else at one point too, and like he was the guy on the ground like promoting it. Like he would show up, be on the sidelines for every game, like signing people's autographs for like 4 hours after the game, and it was pretty crazy.
He could have been the John Madden for the CFL.
Well, and you watched him on the field, and you're like, man, he could have played that character. He could have done like the lifetime story of John Madden had he still been around. So, yeah, very, very good watch.
Yeah. Well, we were, a lot of movies that were taken away from us.
Oh, for sure.
Good movies, for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, he maybe had done like so many cameos and so many things by then, like maybe his star was declining a little bit, but then you always get like that second phase of an actor like that, right? Where they probably start getting some more dramatic roles and like have a resurgence. And I mean, he had a tough time in today's landscape, right? Where like comedy doesn't sell, but he did like that, was it that Kennedy movie where he played like a dramatic role with him and Harrison Ford? Not Harrison Ford. Who's the other guy that sucks? Waterworld guy, Kevin Costner.
Oh,
Kevin Costner doesn't suck, but he kind of started to suck after, let's say, Waterworld on. But and the other thing I did was I played that Mario and Wario because that got dropped on Switch Online, which over here we didn't get a lot of games that worked with the mouse, especially exclusively. So Mario and Wario was kind of like the big one overseas that was supposed to come here and never did. And I can see why that didn't come over here. I don't think that would have like lit the world on fire. It's basically like a Mario versus Donkey Kong style game, but with mouse controls. And it's fine, but it's also very frustrating. And the mouse controls are somewhat finicky. So I sunk like I got through the first 2 worlds or whatever. And I was like, well, this is neat. I don't know that I'll continue to see it through, but
yeah,
it's Lemmings, right?
From what I've played, yeah, you're just putting blocks in for Lemmings and directing a little bit of Choo Choo Rocket, I guess, a little bit, but because they always go a certain direction, you're always going to expect that. But yeah, I remember thinking like, this is obviously the framework that the Mario vs. Donkey Kong stuff turned into, but
it's essentially a very well fleshed out tech demo for the mouse is kind of what it feels like at the end of the day.
Sure. But I think the difficulty spike is you just increasingly getting more pissed off at the mouse.
Yes. 100%. As well as the mouse works on the Switch, which I think actually you can hook up a USB mouse. I should try that. See if it's any better, but I don't think that's the issue. I think it's just the limited field of vision, the speed at which the action takes place and the fact that you have to like click on everything in increasingly specific time frames, which is where it gets frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine that there's some limit on the Super Nintendo side of like how fast you can scroll
Yeah.
a mouse and like how that gets off, or if it tracks the same way as the original one does. I don't know.
And I like how like the levels go from like painfully stupid easy to like, oh, we're just throwing everything at you right now. It's kind of what it feels like in the ramp up, but it looks great. I mean, the art style and everything is very cool and very in the universe, but yeah, I don't, as far as like long term fun, I don't know that it's there.
It's cool that they got it over here for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mario Paint. I mean, if you got the mouse thing, you have to bring that stuff, but
yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, and we got Bubsy at the same time, so I mean, it was a hell of a drop.
yeah. Yeah. When is that new one coming out?
God, it's
is it out now? I don't.
Yeah. It might be. I watched like a long play of it. It was actually seeming like, I hate to say, maybe not all that awful, but I don't know. We'll see. It's Bubsy after all. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, exactly.
So you want to hit staff picks?
Yeah.
I'll let you go.
Sure. Mine is a YouTube channel. It's been around forever. It's very huge. It's called Technology Connection. It's a guy, a big nerd, who sits in front of a IKEA storage cube thing that has a bunch of colors behind it.
Okay.
And he basically talks about and rips apart all this weird technology and normal stuff that you use all the time to see how it works, and then like kind of have an opinion on if it's a good useful thing or if it sucks, or going back to and almost every one of them has something super interesting as far as like, oh, that's a weird piece of history or something like that. But oftentimes it's something you learn about that you could probably carry on and be like, all right, I know, if I'm going to buy a new fridge, the most efficient fridge is just the normal fridges.
Sure.
All these ones with the French doors and the freezers on the bottom are just like horribly inefficient,
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes into depth of why, The one tonight we watched, why is there a popcorn button on your microwave when all the bags say not to use popcorn button, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then goes all into that and talks about how certain microwaves don't have a sensor. They just go off of the size of the bag, and then they just set the time. And those are the ones that mess up your popcorn. But most of the time, you have one that has a sensor in it. So it's okay to use a popcorn button.
Interesting.
So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Stuff that he cuts through a lot of bullshit, I guess.
Sure.
A lot of this technology now is just marketing.
Yeah.
Like those dishwasher pods, like those are factually like not as good as just like.
But they're convenient, Andy, and they're delicious. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
I watched something kind of similar on that with like a guy who does a bunch of right to repair stuff. And he was going through like the whole scam of like these LG and like Samsung like water filter cartridges that like basically render your water pour indoor useless unless you buy their brand of water filter, because like it just won't dispense unless it's replaced. But there's nothing proprietary about the filter whatsoever. It's just like the QR thing, like sensor on the cartridge itself. So like they were going through a whole tutorial on like how you go to Amazon, buy the $13 replacement, carefully cut the code thing off of your old one, slide it in. It'll still say that it needs to be replaced, but it'll register it as like a valid filter at least, so you can get around like shelling out hundreds of dollars. It's just like, man, that's a whole fucking racket.
Yep.
Yeah. Those channels are interesting.
They are really good, and the other good ones are like when they get it. I mean, LGR does these with like his oddware ones that he does those weird things that he finds.
Mm-hmm.
This guy also does stuff like that, and one of them I just watched was it's called the TV Guardian. You hooked it up in between your VCR and your TV
Okay.
or your cable box or whatever. But what it did is it read the signal to pull out the closed captions, and then it would find swear words, and then it would modify the captions, and then it would mute the sound.
Really?
Yeah, so it would modify the captions to like blank out the swear words or turn it into a whole different thing. It's, like a TV edit type of thing.
That's a great
And
idea,
then mute.
except like back in that day, I can't imagine the captions came on anywhere near the actual time of the audio. So it's like,
No,
was it
because
actually accomplishing anything?
the captions usually come up at like the whole two sentences at a time. So it's like you're
Right.
muting basically 5 seconds of the audio. So it's like,
Nice.
okay, this is blank here, but you have to read the captions we edited in this 5 seconds. It's crazy.
Or in other words, how to get your kids to hate you is what it sounds like.
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know something like that existed.
Yeah, it's cool technology, I guess.
I remember people
a
botch
good
it
way to
like
think
that.
about it. Yeah. It's
Interesting.
yeah.
I thought maybe it would be like smart enough to be like, no, we're not recording. We're not going to let your kid record like Skinamax on your free HBO weekend to your VCR. Like that'd be better technology.
Yep. Yeah.
It's funny. I'll have to check that one out. Technology connection,
huh?
Yeah. That sounds good. Mine is an easy one because, again, I was pressed for things. But during the pandemic, all the taco. So anyone who lives in the Upper Midwest has maybe heard of Taco John's. It's basically like the equivalent to Taco Bell, but more expensive, slightly better quality food. But they have potato olays, which are essentially just like the coin tater tots, but they season them with a taco seasoning, and they're amazing. And they're the reason you go to Taco John's. And
I'm an hour away and I've heard this news. So
yes,
it's a big deal.
So during the pandemic, ours were horribly managed by whatever company had them in town. So we went from like 5 Taco Bells down to none, which is bullshit. So like anytime you would leave town, you felt obligated to like, even if it was like 30 minutes away is the closest one, you felt obligated to like eat your Taco John's because you couldn't get it back in Fargo. But a new company has come in to save the day and we will have 2 new Taco John's within the next year. So I can have my like maybe once or twice annual trip to my local Taco John's and get my 6-pack and a pound of potatoes. So
yep.
Very excited.
Yeah, that's the potato olays are totally. I think they're a Minnesota. I think they've like changed their headquarters to Minnesota now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, they're pretty semi-regional, right? Like they're throughout the Midwest, but I don't think they've like gone national. By
no,
any
I don't think so.
So yeah,
but I've never had potatoes like that. They're like
delicious.
At least not ones that salty.
Yeah, they will. Then they're just full of grease. Like they're gonna kill you 100%. But they are delicious on occasion. And I do like that they like actually make their taco meat in store. Like it's not pre-processed from a bag like Taco Bell, which again, guilty pleasure fast food. Taco Bell is probably my favorite, but to have Taco John's back. What's killing me though is they're not even, well, some of their old stores have been turned into other things, but we have a couple that are just sitting empty, and those aren't the ones that they're bringing back necessarily. I think one of them is, but to remodel like a completely new location when you had essentially everything you needed, I would assume.
I'm sure they were like still branded, or the building. They kind of have weird building branding, right?
So, right. All you had to do was put the sign back up and put the kitchen back in. You think you'd be good, but I mean, a couple of locations were not great, so I could see them getting. It sounds like the first one's opening in South Fargo, which is for anyone who's around here, like everything's building south. So, so yeah, Taco John's. Excited for sharing fast food again. Now I can leave town and eat other things, so it'll be nice. But I guess it's a quick episode here, but we're already on to the weekend rental. So the weekend rental, of course, we play a game for a given system, give our opinions as to whether we would buy, rent, or burn that game. We're going back to my favorite console, the N64, playing a little game called Iggy's Wrecking Balls. And boy, this is a game. This has not changed my perspective on the N64. I will say that.
I remember picking this game up to look at to rent it, and I remember putting it down to be like, this is not good. It cannot be good.
It seems like it should be a puzzle game based on the name.
Hmm.
and the front, but in fact what it is 3D uniracers, I guess is the best way to describe it.
Yeah, as if you were also snood characters, I think.
Right. With weird personalities.
Yeah.
So everything is like a race, a 4v4. I mean, you're racing, you and three other opponents racing on like essentially these endless looping tracks that are very short, usually just 1 to 4 laps, quote, and I air quote laps because like you don't even complete a circuit, you just get teleported back to the beginning.
Yeah, and they're just I mean, it's not even like racing or how you would normally view it.
It's
It's like
platforming.
platforming with a grappling hook
Right.
to some, and you're just a ball, and it's such a weird concept to. It seems like it was a prototype of something that they just kept turning into something else, and we got this game.
Yeah. The sound effects are obnoxious. The quips from the characters you play as are obnoxious. The presentation is muddy. The controls are sloppy. It's also one of those games that brilliantly relies on experiencing the course you're on to really win at it. So get used to failing pretty much every time the first time you do a course, which is fun. That's how you design a game.
Right, and I think the AI just goes at the set of speed. There's like no rubber banding or anything. It's balls hard.
Yeah.
Uh, Outside the first few levels, you are toast if you're not just like. There's no mistakes to be made for the most
No.
part on a lot of these.
No, I am not ashamed to admit that I put the least amount of time into this that I have any weekend rental in years, because within 20 minutes of this, after I was like, oh, let me try a different mode, and doing the multiplayer mode and realizing that that was infinitely worse than just the main mode, I kind of just couldn't do it anymore. And this is probably some kids like guilty pleasure on the N64, but it had to be a time and place thing. Like there's no visiting this now with like fun coming out of your experience, I don't think.
No, I mean it's unique. That's for sure. There's not many games that are like this.
For a reason.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe you could make the argument that if you had 4 players, like all 4 of you were doing this couch co-op,
because
then
you
there's
can.
something
Yeah,
good to be had, right?
because
But
you
as a
can grab
single
other
player,
people and smack them around and do
yeah,
that. That would be kind of fun to do with your friends for sure.
which I
But
didn't
I don't
discover
know.
until I was like quite a ways into it, and I was like, oh, there's like more to this than just racing the opponent, I guess.
Yeah, but most of the time, I mean, you have a very brief window of that happening. It's not like you're on a Smash Brothers
Right.
platform, where you can chase them down. You're just constantly moving to the next thing with that.
Yeah.
If you're not right there next to him, there's no shot.
It just kind of boils down to like short 15-second platforming segments to then loop back and complete the same platforming segment. And
Yeah, that's the part that I I guess that really gets me is that the first. I mean, if you don't know the level at all, the first lap, I guess, of what you would ever call it, is kind of exploration. Like definitely making mistakes on where to go sometimes.
yeah.
And then you do it the second time in the third lap or whatever, and it doesn't seem like I get much faster. Like I'm not gaining on the
Right.
characters, the other opponents. So
And the jump and grapple mechanic is incredibly finicky for what it like.
Mhm.
There's two things you can do in that game. Like those two things should be tight, but like sometimes the timing on like the jump and the grapple, and like you have to have your D-pad or joystick in the right angle. Like it's really frustrating.
Yeah, for something for like a race, I don't need two different like jump heights to like be able to grapple to.
Right.
Just let me make one single jump and perform the grapple, and I'm there, right?
Yeah.
Not a varying height to really nail it. Like it doesn't need to be exact science on that.
Yeah. It seems like for as simple as they had it, it should have been more polished. But yeah, I think there's a reason like you don't hear about this one talked about. It's just I bet you're right in that this was just like a regrettable rental on the weekend when you couldn't find the game you were actually looking for. Because I don't know anybody that ever owned this. I don't think I've
No,
ever
I
seen a
don't.
physical copy really.
I've seen physical, but I don't know if it's ever been somebody I've seen that like owned it. Like,
well, it's
for
an
real.
Acclaim game, right? Like very end of
Yeah,
Acclaim's kind of run, so you
like
kind of know what to expect.
Acclaim iguana joint. Yeah, those are
Right.
not highly regarded
Which
pieces.
one of the main balls is that stupid
I guess
iguana's
Turok,
face.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's kind of the thing that they had to have made this somewhat ugly on purpose. Like there's a lot of just like stuff that's almost just like offensive to the eyes in some cases, and it's like,
Well, it's offensive to play and to listen to, so I guess yeah, why not make it
yes,
a cohesive package? Yeah, I really hate that. And there's worse games than 64. Like this is at least playable, but it is not in any way fun or long lasting. I can't imagine wanting to solo anyway sink more time into this than just 30 minutes. And all right, well I got the gist of that, but I'm good.
right. The battle mode is awful.
It's
It's the
so
worst
bad.
thing I've ever. It's one of the worst things.
So and why is it? You can have multiple opponents, right? You can do one, two, or
Mhm.
three. Yeah. I just did the single opponent and I was like, I can't find a winning strategy to this at all because this
There's no
GPU, the computer is just so cheap.
You have no visibility. That's the thing.
Right.
Like you can't see anything in that game
Well,
unless they're right next
that's
to
a problem in the main game too. Is just like the way that it
you.
like tries to arc and curve in 3D on a 2D plane. Like you found yourself missing like super easy jumps just because the jump is floaty and the controls feel like it's slightly delayed, and maybe that's the Switch, not the game. But yeah,
Yeah, and there's bi-directional like grappling that you need to do, so you need to make sure that you're in the right direction
right.
too. I've caught that where it's like,
Yep. You just miss a grab because you were like slightly too far off to the right or left instead of up.
right, and so it's going straight right. It's like, well, on a normal analog, it should, just go at whatever angle I'm pressing the analog stick at.
Yeah, and for the most part, they only want you to grapple, like in the main game at least. Maybe it gets different later on, straight up. So it's like in the race mode, why not just have your grapple be a thing that's like always, relatively straight up and not allow you to completely pooch it and shoot it sideways? And
Yeah.
I mean, that's a skill argument, I guess, too, but it doesn't make it any less frustrating. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think this is pretty clear, but what would you give this on the Byron Burn scale?
Yeah, this is a pretty big burn. I don't know if there's much redeemable about this. I guess you could say it's unique and it's an interesting try at something, but I mean, there's might have been a way to do this better. I mean, Fall Guys is kind of this in some way.
Yeah. But yeah, the fact that it's essentially like a Uniracers, right?
Right, yeah.
And
Yeah,
Uniracers is already kind of its own mess.
exactly.
But yeah, I'm giving it a hardcore burn too. I wanted to try to get into this and find like a hidden gem, but there is just not it. I looked at the reviews and like there are some like somewhat positive reviews, like nothing like overwhelming. Like nobody's giving this like an 8 out of 10, but like people were giving it like a 6 or a 7, and I think even that feels generous, but I'd just avoid it, to be honest.
Yeah. It's not something you need to play for sure.
No. Not something that needed to come to Switch Online either. Although, what do you put on the 64? I mean, although there are a lot of first-party titles that still haven't made it yet.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I saw Luigi's Mansion is coming. Be good.
Ooh, on the GameCube?
Mm-hmm.
That'll be good. Yeah. Just hold out for that. Stay away from Iggy. Is that their mascot's name too? I would assume it is, right?
The iguana, yeah, I would imagine that must be the thing.
Yeah.
But they're trying to sell a toy line here. Like,
probably.
I don't know. I don't know what the.
It's like Mad Balls, right? But
right.
With Uniracer twist.
Yep.
Well, short episode. We don't have a lot to talk about, but I guess that's another one down.
That's how it goes sometimes. Yep. You can connect with us at weekendrentalpodcast@gmail.com. You might be the person that this was your game. I don't know. I feel sorry for you.
You're sick. You're sick.
Yep. But you can reach out and tell us why we're wrong. Also, we're on the Geekade Patreon network. Make sure you follow there. There's a lot of other good gaming and geek culture podcasts on that network as well. But I think until next time, you'll hear about our next phases in our housing lives.
We're the housing podcast, yeah.
Yes. Till that time, be kind, rewind.
Bananas.